Ho, ho, ho. The stuff coming out of the UK is absolutely insane, and Trump is going to have to clean up this mess because the stuff that they're doing over there is directly impacting us over here. You may have heard of the dozens, of the 100 or so Labor Party activists that came over here to stump for Special K. Yeah, that happened. And not only that, but the Prime Minister as well as his Foreign Secretary have said some egregious things about Donald Trump in the past, and they have refused to apologize. And this is the group that Donald Trump is expected to interact with, and yet this is he really shouldn't. He really shouldn't. And we have British politicians out there basically saying that very thing. We have Kemi Badenoch, who is the leader of the opposition, the Conservative Party over in the UK, who has called out the Prime Minister on this, who has challenged. Let's go ahead and watch her challenge to him.
And so I would like to start by congratulating President-elect Trump on his impressive victory this morning. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary met him in September. Did the Foreign Secretary take that opportunity to apologise for making derogatory and scatological references, including, and I quote, Trump is not only a woman-hating, neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath, he is also a profound threat to the international order. And if he did not apologise, will the Prime Minister do so now on his behalf?
Yes, over in the UK, we have the white guy telling the black lady that she's racist. They have that going on over there too. It's absolutely insane. And not only did he refuse and start doing a word salad about how there's going to be things that the opposition disagrees with the Labor Party on, blah 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 blah. But she just said this.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister did not distance himself from the remarks made by the Foreign Secretary, and I'm very sure that President Trump will soon be calling to thank him for sending all of those North London Labour activists to campaign for his opponent.
Now, just so you can understand some of the things where the Foreign Secretary, David Lambie, over in the UK has said over the years of his comments and his writings about Donald Trump, calling him and his administration woman-hating, neo-Nazi, sympathizing sociopath. Now, this is basically the Secretary of State for the UK. He's the guy who's supposed to be coming to the United States, congratulating the United States, congratulating Donald Trump, all this kind of stuff. He's also called Donald Trump a dangerous clown, a racist KKK sympathizer, corrupt, morally bankrupt. Wow. Has Lambie retracted any of these statements saying, I shouldn't have said that, that's not true? No. He told the BBC, I am Foreign Secretary. There are things I know now that I didn't know back then, and that's the truth of it. These elitists, and some of you guys said we shouldn't call them elitists, we should call them parasites, which is true. These folks who think they're better than all of us, these white men who look at black and brown women and tell them that they're racist. It's just, they can't even hear themselves anymore. They call other people names, and then when other people insinuate that they are not holding to facts, they start getting up in arms for name calling. And yet, there's a clip out there of a liberal who literally just bashes this guy on CNN, and then he comes back and basically he's like trying to walk through the polls of where the Biden administration kind of fell apart, And he insinuates, maybe you can't read the polls, but I can. and the other guy starts getting all huffy about, name calling or whatever, where he had just ripped this guy a new one with name calling, and he doesn't even recollect that, just like 15 seconds before. So that's the kind of opposition Kemi Badenoch is up against with the Conservative Party over in the UK. That's what Trump and the Republicans are up against here in the United States. These people who have zero civility are out there talking about civility. You've heard this too. You heard Obama come out there. You've heard Biden come out. You've heard Kamala talking about, we all need to work together. Yeah. Where was that, 2 weeks ago, where you were basically calling us all Nazis? Yeah. Where was that, where you said that Trump was a threat to democracy? Now suddenly, democracy is all about the peaceful transfer of power, and so we should go ahead and do that. Even leftists, their heads are spinning. Charlemagne out there, his head is spinning like, wait a minute, you said this guy's a threat to democracy. Why are you saying that now democracy demands that you turn over the government to him? How does that jive? That doesn't make sense. Because it was all rhetoric. It was just a game. Their name calling was just a game. Well, Donald Trump hasn't even gotten into office yet, and we've already seen some tangible effects from his from the fact that he's going to go into office, right? Hamas has called for an end to the fighting in the Middle East. The Houthis of Yemen have announced a ceasefire. The German government has collapsed, and there will be elections here in the near future. And one can only hope that the UK government also collapses, because they definitely need a change of leadership over there. Putin and Zelensky have both said that they are willing to work towards peace. And I believe that there was already a phone call between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin discussing initial terms of a potential ceasefire or a potential peace treaty or peace deal. He's not even president yet, and yet he's already accomplished more than the Biden-Harris administration has in their entire 4-year term. Absolutely insane. The EU has even capitulated and said that they're going to start buying more U.S. oil. All of this due to the fact that the election has just taken place, and they realize that the wind is starting to shift, and these people are trying to get out ahead of it. Not the Labour Party over in the UK, though. They are adamant about picking a fight with Donald Trump. And yet, they're sitting on the face of it going, oh, well, we want to work together, our historical allies, and we want to have civility, and we want to... They haven't apologized. They haven't retracted their previous statements. They think that they can call everyone all the names under the sun, and there be zero consequences for it. The truth is that Donald Trump has done more for African Americans in the United States than the Biden-Harris administration has. The truth of the matter is that he has done more for Latinos in the United States in his first term than the Biden-Harris administration did during their term. You go down the laundry list, the fact that people who identify as gay or transgender or whatever else, they actually had it better under Donald Trump. Everyone had it better under Donald Trump, including all these Democrats who are whining about moving to Canada and such. This supposed racist has done more to heal racial relationships and reconciliation than the Biden-Harris administration did, and arguably more than Barack Hussein Obama. Everything that we're being told, all of the hysteria and the lies, not true. Is it any surprise to us, given that it was all foisted by the mainstream media as if it was true, by The View and Whoopi Goldberg and all these Hollywood actors and actresses who know better than us? They think they know so much more than us, and they think they know what's best for humankind. And yet they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. We need strength in order to have peace. There's that story out there that Donald Trump met with the Taliban. And I don't know if you've heard this story before, but basically he handed a picture, a satellite photo of the house of one of the Taliban leaders. Just gave him the picture and said, basically, if another one of our soldiers dies, this is our next airstrike. And it was the dude's home. For the next 6 months, not a single American died in Afghanistan. Now, that may be a little unhinged. That may be a little bit unorthodox. But he protected American soldiers. Whereas Biden, he pulled out all the soldiers out of Afghanistan before we got the civilians out. And so we had the civilians in Afghanistan with very little protection. And then to appear strong after the attack on the airport that killed 13 U.S. servicemen, in order to appear strong, the Taliban gave him targeting instructions of a suicide bomber. And so they bombed the house. Turns out it wasn't a suicide bomber. It was a humanitarian who had worked with the United States who was hoping to get his family to safety. The Taliban gave him the address of an American ally, and to appear strong, Biden dropped a bomb on this person's house with his whole family inside. You go through it. Who in their right mind would say, these are the guys we're fighting against. Let's take an address that they provide and use it for targeting instructions? Who in their right mind would think that that's a good idea? Like, how many people in the White House did that go through and people said, yeah, that's a good idea? I think it went through a bunch of people in the military, and the military people are saying, this is a bad idea. And yet, at the top of the White House, they said, we must do something because we're getting slaughtered in the polls. The more you look into that fiasco, the more you look into the Ukrainian fiasco, the more you look into the Israel fiasco, there's a reason why the Palestinians did not come across the wire and did not come across the fence during Trump's tenure. There's a reason why Putin didn't invade Ukraine until after Trump was out of office. These people over in the UK that talk all about peace and peace and peace, they talk about strength, and they don't understand those words, let alone know how to achieve any of them. Friends, I'm glad the adults are coming back into the White House, and hopefully it makes the difference. Hopefully we can clean up the mess that these children have made, who know nothing and only care about getting the next beachfront house. How many houses does Biden have again? And you watch, Special K is going to get so much money from her attempt. She's going to get her book deal. She's going to get all sorts of lobbyist campaign money. Absolutely insane. Her campaign is negative $20 million that somebody needs to pay back. theoretically, as if they ever will. And then Special K, she's going to get rich off this because all the Democratic politicians always get rich off this. Obama has his mansions now, right on the waterfront, of course, because that's what people who believe that the sea level is going to rise, that's where they buy their property, right on the beach in Martha's Vineyard, right? Absolutely disgusting and insane. And Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, scolding the black woman about how she's racist. It's rich. It's rich. And you see the same kind of thing playing out in the U.S. Senate. You see the same thing playing out elsewhere. I mean, how many times has Trump been called anti-immigrant? I mean, he married an immigrant. Yeah, you go down the list. Republicans are not anti-immigrant. You can find plenty of spouses and people inside the Republican Party, leaders inside the Republican Party that are immigrants or who married immigrants. Like, all these attacks make no sense whatsoever. You scratch them and the paint comes off because it's just bold-faced lies. Lies and more lies and insults. And every time they get into power, they think that they can do horrific things. And every time they have to take a step in the background, they start calling for unity and peace and harmony, and they want reconciliation, and they want to be part. They want a seat at the table, the same table that they refuse to give anyone from their opposition a seat at. Friends, it's time that the shoe, now that the shoe is on the other foot, we need to start treating them more like they've treated us. I'm not saying we should do all the horrific things that they've done. I'm just saying some of the things that they've done, there needs to be consequences for. And they've set the precedents for these things, and they need to suffer from those precedents being echoed back to them. And I know that a whole bunch of people are going to talk all about, because this is how it happens every single time the Republicans get in there, oh yeah, let's have bipartisanship. No, friends, we should not have bipartisanship with people who refuse to have any kind of bipartisanship with us. Last time around that they controlled the House, last time they controlled the Senate, last time they controlled the current time that they control the presidency, it has been, this is what we're going to do, and we want you to join up with us, put your name on our thing so that it appears bipartisan, but we're not going to give you nothing for it. We need to do the same thing with them. They need to get absolutely nothing, and then they need to get shamed and strong-armed into signing the things without amendment, without changes. That's true bipartisanship according to the Democrats, and they need to get it right back in their faces. All right, friends, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Should Donald Trump work with the Prime Minister of the Labor Party and his and David Lambie, the Foreign Minister, who has deeply insulted the President, President Trump? Should he work with them, or should he just insult them and snub them every step of the way until the British people realize that their government is unacceptable to the United States? I'm not talking about sanctions, but they should get no preferential treatment when it comes to tariffs. They should get no preferential treatment when it comes to military. We should, everything that we do that benefits the UK, we should pull back from. We should pull back from until they issue public apologies. Or even better yet, replace these jokers with a government that is actually willing to work with its international partners instead of just insulting them. All right, friends, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. If you have a retirement account, well, you might want to get some of it into gold, silver, or platinum. Jonathan and his team at Genesis Gold would love to talk to you about what that would look like. They'll answer your questions. No commitment. But there's a link right there on the screen. If you tap on that, it'll bring up a form. You can fill out the form. They'll get in contact with you. They can send you resources that you'd like to see. And you can look them over and see if it's a good fit for you. No obligation whatsoever. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.